I've made a couple of videos recently where I've had several of me in a room playing different musical instruments and the backdrop looks the same. Well, it is the same room. And people have asked, well, how do you do it? How do you possibly put these things together and avoid all the clashes and all of that? Well, I'm going to talk about that with some sort of problems and solutions and a bit about the gear I've used. Let's take a look. Now, leaving aside the musical aspect to it, because actually what you can do is you can listen to a backing track with each take that you do, and that means that obviously the timing is going to be the same. You can drag the videos so that everyone's playing at the same time because you've used the same backing track every time. That's what I did in my most recent video, Georgia on My Mind. I just had a basic backing track to listen to. So I'm going to just, using the same camera angle, just record a few things, and then I'm going to show you how I put it together on the iPad. And I'm using Lumafusion, which is a very cheap video editor. It's only about £30, but it's hugely powerful. Now, of course, you can't do this if the light levels are changing. So doing this outside is nigh on impossible because obviously the sun's going round, and if you take long enough, you'll see different light levels, and it's virtually impossible to cut it without seeing a line which divides one take from the other. So in a room like this, I've got a black backdrop. I've set the camera to like a fixed exposure. You can do all this on an iPhone as well. I've got this iPhone here, which is actually showing me what's on this camera. It's like just got its own sort of little Wi-Fi network. It's a DJI Osmo Action camera, which was about £220. So not very expensive. It's kind of cheaper than a GoPro, but it does much the same thing. Really useful bit of kit. So I'm going to go over here first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I'm going to go over here first, and I'm going to record one take. 1, 2, 3. Now I'm going to go over here. Four, 5, 6. And then another take over here. 7, 8, 9. Okay, so I left the gaps because actually I want the video to be 3 of me. So when I'm going 1, 2, 3, the other 2 here are going to have to wait their turn, 4, 5, 6 and 7, 8, 9. So you do have to do a certain amount of planning to work out exactly what it is you're going to do. I also looked across here to try and get some sort of sense of realism and sort of mixing between the parts. So I'm going to press stop on here now, and then we're going to look at the iPad. Now you can directly download things off the DJI Osmo Action camera straight onto the iPad with its own proprietary software, and then I'm going to use Lumafusion, and you can see how this is put together. Here I am then with Lumafusion on the iPad, and I've, just to save time, imported the video that you saw just now where I did the 3 takes. So if I go and find that video now in my photo library, let's just go to videos, there we go, there it is. I'm just going to drag that into the main working space here. And when I play that back, you'll see basically the demo. There we go. Now, leaving aside the mute, there we go. So that's fine there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to fast forward to where I begin my 3 takes. Okay, there it is. Now, rather sort of perversely, I'm having to video this on another device because the video capture of the iPad won't work at the same time as trying to edit 60 frame per second video on Lumafusion. So I'm having to video with another device. But it's helpful sometimes to see sort of finger movements and stuff like that. So if I just split this track here, get rid of what came before, I don't need that, and just play back. And I'm going to record one take. 1. Okay, so there we go. Just split that there. So we're going to begin with the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now I'm going to... Right. Now I'm going to split it there because I had to leave the gap after 1, 2, 3 to allow the 4, 5, 6 and the 7, 8, 9 takes to actually come straight after that. So now I'm going to find the beginning of the 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Over here. And then drag this one up a line, so I've got it on another track, essentially. So when I play these back, of course I have to find the beginning of 7, 8, 9 first, because I've got some cropping to do in a minute. There we go, so I'm just going to... And there's my beginning point there. Now I haven't rehearsed this, so it's all properly possible that this won't work very well, but actually half the fun is actually making it work in the first place. So I'm just going to shorten this one slightly, bring it here. You can see that there is a sort of a telltale sort of waveform where you can see where the numbers are. There's 1, 2, 3 at the bottom, 4, 5, 6 and 7, 8, 9. So actually the 4, 5, 6 one needs to come back a little bit so that I've got the same rhythm going through. And there we are. So, and then I'll just cut everything at this point and then just delete what remains. So now I've got my 3 takes. Now what I need to do is to crop. Now the topmost one on Lumafusion is the one that you automatically see on the display. So I've got to crop this one so that I am able then to reveal what came to the left of me, well, on the screen here. Like that. And then I go to the next take down, which is what you can see in the middle, and crop left as well, so that I can reveal then the first take. Now, let's see if this works. Now, this is 60 frames per second, so actually the iPad might not play back correctly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Actually, I was quite lucky there. Now, you can see that there is the shadow that I'm casting for 7, 8, 9 is actually being split by what came at 4, 5, 6. Actually, the 1, 2, 3 and the 4, 5, 6 takes are quite good. However, I need to try and build in the shadow here between 4, 5, 6 and 7, 8, 9. Now, you can do that. If I was to copy 7, 8, 9, let's just make a copy of it. It puts it above the other tracks. Now, what I ideally need to do is to actually set this so that it crops, so that it simply just shows me the... So there's my shadow there. And I need to make sure that it doesn't cut any of me off elsewhere, so that I can do this and simply build it back up again, like that. So now, when I play this back, you can see that the shadow for 7, 8, 9 has been maintained. It's actually worked with 4, 5, 6. And then, of course, when you're ready to do this, if you just share the movie, I'm just going to share it to photos, always try and keep it at the best possible quality. I'm videoing in 60 frames per second at 1080, which is plenty. But if you just share this as a video, it just renders this, and actually it's doing this quite quickly. So hopefully we'll be able to see in a minute how it looks as it would on YouTube, for example. It's not very, it doesn't resolve quite well enough on the iPad, but hopefully when I look at the photograph of this, saving to photos, it just puts it into the normal photo application. And so if I now go into photos itself, where are we? And then find the, there we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, I've just noticed also there is actually a bit of an issue between 1, 2, 3 and 4, 5, 6. You can see if I just go back here, when I'm throwing my hands about, you can see that the shadow at the bottom has been cut off by 4, 5 and 6. That's okay, you can just go back in and render those things. So you can see that you can generate a bit of work, and you know, you're trying to save time, but actually you might create problems as well. Shadows and changes of light. This curtain behind me actually moved slightly between takes. It sort of blew a bit. I thought, oh, okay. But this gives you an idea of how you can do this. Now, of course, the soundtrack at the moment is from Lumafusion. It's just the camera audio. But you could mic up each take, Be careful though, obviously the mic positioning has got to take everything into account that you're doing. So there's a little solution of basically how to do this.